Good afternoon to all the good viewers of our program who join us every week. We are going to continue today with our part 14 of the life of Jafar as-Sadiq, the stripper, the so-called teacher of Islamic knowledge. We're going to talk about what he did and what he taught, and we're going to continue from where we were. So before we do that, let me start with sharing this link for our viewers so that they can follow us in Telegram. And then I will also do the same so that if there are problems, I can find them right away and deal with those problems. Okay, now that we did that, let me share the screen with you guys and continue from where we were. In a few seconds, this screen will pop up for you. This is where we left off last time, if you all remember. And if you remember, we were talking about the donkey, remember? And we left off from this story right here. This is the page that we were on last, and we ended it without going through. In 2006, as you can see, there is a chat group called Shia Chat. And in Shia Chat, this question was asked, right? About what Ibn Kathir had written. Ibn Kathir, for the English speakers, so that you also know, is one of the big ulama, the clergy people of the Sunni sect of Islam. So imagine Islam being a tree, a big tree. And then imagine this tree has two big branches that come out of it at the same time. And imagine those two branches have their own small branches. Call one of these branches Sunni. Call the other one Shia. Now, both these names are short forms. Just so you can understand what they are, the first one, which has majority of Muslims following it, is called Ahl Sunnah wa al-Jama'at. What that means is Ahl means those that follow, those that are with. Okay. Second word was Sunnah, where Sunni comes out of. Sunni is a short form for that. Sunnah. Sunnah are the traditions, the hadiths, the works of Muhammad, works of others that Muhammad approved. Those are all Sunnah. The next word was wa. Wa means and. Jama'at was the last word. Al-Jama'at is the same thing as saying Jama'at. Jama'at is the word. Al is the. So the Jama'at. Jama'at, the word itself, means community. So when you put them together, followers of tradition and community. Whose tradition? They never gave us a name. You can put whoever you want in there. You can put Muhammad. You can put Ali. You can put Umar. You can put the ant. You can put the pig. You can put anything. They never gave you a name. They just said tradition. Ahl Sunnah. They didn't say Ahl Sunnah al-Nabi, the Prophet. They didn't say Ahl Sunnah al-Jamil. They didn't tell you Ahl Sunnah of Michael Jackson. They didn't say anything. They just said Sunnah. Wa al-Jama'at, and the community. Suppose we go with the Sunnis and say this is the Sunnah of Muhammad. Now we have followers of Muhammad's tradition and Jama'at, the community. Meaning, Muhammad is equal in us following him, as is the community. Which means, it's very important, in Islam, the Quran, which is the book of Allah the God, who Allah himself wrote it using a pen before he created anything else. Then his archangel Jibreel brought it to Muhammad, and Muhammad is supposedly only reading it out to people, meaning it's not his work. It's not the work of Jibreel. It's the work of that Allah that they have as a God. Allah in his book, the Quran, says, don't say to the Prophet, because what he does is not from him, but it's from us. So Allah's words, which are being said by Muhammad, are equal to whatever the Jama'at, the community, says. Which means Allah and the community are equal. They both have parts in this group of Islam called Sunni, which is 90% of the Muslim world is Sunni. So they all believe that everyone in the community is equal to God, which means all of them are gods. Don't let them fool you when they say Islam only has one God, because everybody in the community is a God. Ahl Sunnah wa al-Jama'at. Nobody else will tell you that except for me. And go to any Arab person and ask them each one of those words by itself, what each one of those words means. Because if you ask them together, they'll lie to you. Ask them each one of those by itself, and they'll tell you exactly what I said. And then you put it together and you say, aha, and you catch him. Now the other side. The other side was Shia. Shia is also a short form. Shia is a short form for Shiatul Ali, meaning follower of Ali. Whatever Ali says, they're going to do. And they claim, supposedly, that Ali is only teaching you whatever the Prophet taught. So why not be Shiatul Muhammad? Why is it Shiatul Ali? Supposedly he's telling you what the Prophet said, should just be Shiatul Muhammad. But nope, they're Shiatul Ali. Hence, the 10% on this side, the 90% on that side, put together 100% of the Muslims, none of them follow Muhammad. And you want to know why they don't follow Muhammad? Because of all the stuff we've been covering. They all follow other people than Muhammad. They think that saves them, but it doesn't save them. So anyway, here's the source. Here's another link. You guys see it in blue. I just blew it up for you so it'll become bigger so everyone can read it easily. I'll even blow it up a little bit more. I can't blow it up any more than that. It was narrated by Abu Muhammad, blah, 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 blah. You see all these names? You see a whole paragraph of names, ladies and gentlemen? A whole paragraph. Abu Muhammad ibn Abdullah ibn Hamid, narrated by Abdul al-Hussein Ahmad ibn Hadan al-Sijsi, narrated by Umar ibn Muhammad ibn Bajir, narrated from Abu Jafar Muhammad ibn Mazid, narrated by Abu Abdullah Muhammad ibn Akbar ibn Abu Sahaba, and so on. You see, it keeps going on and on. You see the paragraph of names. This is called a chain of command. Before the hadith, you will see a chain link of names. And in this chain link, if you don't have this, that hadith has to be thrown out because they say that they don't know who said it. The whole war over Da'if hadith, Sahih hadith, Mutawatir hadith, this hadith, that hadith, the game that they play is over these names. Okay, Muslims play that game. These names are what they're talking about. They have to say that these names eventually go back to Muhammad. Or they got to go to one of the Sahaba of the Muhammad. So they can say, well, we saw him do whatever it is that he was doing. According to these names, they're telling us the story. When Allah opened Khaybar, now, sometimes they say Ali opened the Khaybar. But here, Allah is opening. So Allah and Ali are the same. There is no difference. Ali is a God, Allah is a God, everybody's a God according to Sunni. And according to Shia, Ali is the one who opened it, but now he turned into Allah. Anyway, he opened it for his prophet. May Allah's prayers and peace be upon him. Now in English, prayer can be both. It can be when you're worshiping something, or it could be when you're making a prayer for something. However, here, the word in Arabic is salawat, which comes from tusalli in the wording that they use, which is coming from salat. Inna Allah wa malaika tusalli ala al-nabi. Allah and his angels tusalli, which is from salawat, which is from salat, which means you worship prayer. Okay, because Muslims have to make 5 daily salat where they worship God in the morning before it becomes morning at dawn. Then they got to do it at noon and afternoon, and when it becomes sunset, and again in the night. 5 major everyday prayers where they're worshiping this Allah. The same word, salli, is what it's from. To salli is the same. It means you're doing the act. And then here we have peace be upon him. That is the prayer, like you're making a prayer for somebody. So here Allah worships him and then prays for him too. Now, some people may tell you, no. It just means he's making a prayer. Well, that means he's making 2 prayers. Because here you said peace be on him, and then you made a prayer as well. So you made 2 prayers. So now Allah is sitting there making 2 prayers for this Muhammad. Either way you want to go, keep this in mind. Okay? If in first scenario, Allah is praying, he's worshiping, right? And then he's making a prayer. Well, that means the prayer that he's going to make here, peace be upon him, has to be answered by the one Allah is worshiping, which is Muhammad. That's scenario number 1. Scenario number 2, the one that all the Muslims want to believe in. And they say, no, he's making a prayer for him, not worshiping him. In that case, who is Allah praying to? Because if I tell you, hey, James, can you do me a favor and make a prayer for me? You will say, sure. And then James will turn around and pray to his God so that the God can do something for me by answering whatever my need is. Here, the Muslims say, Allah's praying for Muhammad. So who is Allah praying to? Who's Allah's God? Apparently Allah has a God that he's praying to, asking for something from Muhammad. Oh, these Muslims, they dig their own graves. When they fall in the hands of Dr. Mossavat, they're in their own grave. Oh boy, here we go. So now what happened? We put that aside. He, Muhammad, received his share of spoils. 4 sheep, ladies and gentlemen. They took out Khaybar and all he got. Remember, I told you Jafar as-Sadiq told us in his letter that Allah takes, that the Prophet of Allah, this human filth, that was his name, Ghatan, he's human feces. He took everything and made it into 5 parts, 20% parts, right? So let's say you have 100,000 of whatever, he split it into 5 parts. Said 1 part is for Allah, because without money, Allah dies. So of course you have to give to Allah 20%. Then there was his own 20%. Then there was his family's 20%. Then there was the 20% for the poor people. Then there was the 20% for the people that are worse than poor people, like completely homeless and in need. So he took everything. So let's see what everything is that he took when he took out Khaybar, okay? He took 4 sheep, 4 goats, 10 pots of gold and silver, and a black haggard donkey. That was everything, okay? He attacked them just to take this. Okay. The Prophet, again, Allah prays for him, and Allah prays to him, because worships him, addressed the donkey. What is your name? The donkey answered, Yazid ibn Shahab, the story you guys know. And he was from 60 ancestry donkeys. All of them were ridden by prophets, and all of them were prophets. And he tells them this story. I mean, I told you guys the story already, but he's just repeating the same thing because it's everywhere. I mean, the thing is everywhere, everywhere. And the Muslims, as usual, they don't read their books, so they don't know. If you tell them this, they'll be like, what are you drinking? They'll think you're drunk. But it's everywhere. Anyway, so then what happened? The Prophet talked to him, and he told him the story that he used to make the Jewish man who owned him fall all the time, and he used to get beat up. And then afterwards, the Prophet called him Yafur, and then he called him, oh Yafur, which in Arabic will be Ya Yafur. And that's Ya is taken from Aramaic, and Aramaic got it from Old Aramaic, and in Old Aramaic, Ya means God. So Yafur, the donkey, now turned into God, Yafur. So even a donkey is a god in Islam. Come on now. Where are you guys, man? And then he says, so the prophet used to ride this donkey and go for his business, and he would hit his head to the doors instead of knock with his feet. And the donkey would talk and do the dealings for the prophet because, he's too lazy. And this whole thing about how he died and blah, 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 blah. And then because they thought that people will come and write underneath this page in Shia chat, the admin of the Shia chat is a person who lives in the West but dreams of one day being a terrorist. Hence, he calls himself Hizbullahi, meaning he's a member of Hizbullah. He edited it by closing the chat so nobody can come and write any garbage underneath it and say, what the hell are you guys talking about? And leave Islam. So they closed it so that people can read it, but that they can't write anything under it. By who? A person who dreams of being a terrorist. And then they tell you that Islam is a peaceful religion. Then they tell you that, those people are not part of Islam. Oh, the Islam is very peaceful. And in the West, they teach it as very peaceful. Don't believe them. They all want to be Hizbullah. Next source. Here's the link. Here's the link. You guys all see it. Hadith regarding a donkey. This one is from a Sunni side, right? somebody's asking hadith regarding the donkey, okay, that came to the Prophet of Islam. Somebody's writing about it because they read it and they can't believe it. They're like, what is this? What am I worshiping? Now I got to worship a donkey as well because he's God? So now they wrote to their clergymen, what is this? Can you explain it? And then the person starts. Is the hadith of a donkey reporting its owner to Prophet authentic? And the person then went through and said, truly bared by Sayyidina Fatima. So the stepdaughter of Muhammad, who Muslims proclaim is Muhammad's daughter, but it's not. It was Khadija's daughter from one of her last marriages before Muhammad, meaning her third husband, who also died. Because you know, Khadija, the so-called old woman that Muhammad married, which was also one of her cousins. That's right, he married his cousin. She had 3 husbands before Muhammad. All 3 of them died, and she inherited everything they had. That's how she got rich. She was a black widow. By black widow, I mean she wasn't a human being who was black and a widow. I'm talking about the spider, black widow. You know, the spider, black widow, eats the one that she's doing the you know what in order to have offsprings. That's what Khadija was. She used to kill her husbands. She would marry them, and then after a little while, they're dead. And then she had all the wealth. She was a black widow. But Muhammad knew this, and Muhammad was smart. He didn't want to become one of her dead subjects. And she also knew, no use killing this one. This one has nothing. I mean, if I kill it, I don't get anything. Plus, she was old. She retired from the husband killing business. She had a boy toy. You know, Muhammad was the boy toy. He was the gigolo. So that's what that was all about. That whole story that she was like 40 something and he was 24 or something like that. And they got married and, you know, all this nonsense business. And, you know, she was at an age where you can't have kids no more. And so all of her kids became his adopted kids. And because he was having sex with his so-called daughter, Fatima, who was a minor, like not even a minor. Fatima was younger than Aisha, and Aisha was 6 years old. So imagine how old this one was, right? So because he was having sex with her, as a pedophile prophet that he was, when this story came out, and we talked about it, in Iran's Islamic Republic of Iran's own TV channels, IRIB, one of the clergymen of Shia Islam came out and said, well, the reason why the Prophet of Islam did that is because he knew Fatima was from heaven and she would be returning to heaven, and he wanted to be able to do that with the women of heaven. That was the excuse that the clergyman brought up, the mullah. Now, you know, ladies and gentlemen, I mean, if you want to be with someone who's from heaven, just go and find a little baby. Well, and then do what Muhammad did. Just don't do it in the West, because you will be thrown away in prison for life, and then you will have to deal with people in prison who don't look kindly to people that do that. But anyway, back to the story over here. The hadith of the donkey reporting the owner complied by the book of Ibn Habban, and so on and so on and so on and so on, narrated it, and while quoting Muhammad ibn Mazyad, Abu Jafar and Ibn al-Jawzi in his Mawadu at hadith number 5555. The hadith is reported by Sahaya B. Ibn Mandur, and so on and so on and so on. And then he wants to say, shows that the donkey might be part of a war booty of Khaybar, and that he died through himself in the well, and so on and so forth. And then it says, Ibn Habban said this hadith has no origin, and the sanad being that chain of names that you saw, that it's worthless, okay, and can't be used to excuse this sheikh referring Muhammad ibn Mazyad. Now they have a problem with this guy. You know, they looked at that whole chain of names and then they picked one, Muhammad ibn Mazyad. And now they have a problem with Muhammad ibn Mazyad because Muhammad ibn Mazyad said it, we don't believe it. But everybody else who said it, oh, we don't see them. They don't exist anymore. All they have is Muhammad ibn Mazyad. You know, we give you a paragraph of names, they pick one and they have a problem with this one guy. The statement of Ibn al-Jawzi is already quoted in his answer of great big bore to some extent. Okay. So they have a problem. The Sunnis have a problem because somebody said, is this real? How could this be? Okay, because of that, they want to save people and keep them in Islam. Now it's a problem. The same hadith, if they tell it to the Afghanis and if they tell it to the Pakistanis, no problem, because when it comes to religion, I mean, those two, they have no common sense. So if you tell it, it just goes over their head. You don't believe me? Go look at when the guy was trying to eat the Jewish flag in Pakistan 2 days ago. You know, on the day of jihad around the world, the Pakistanis came out and they were ripping the flag and they were eating it. They were eating it. One guy ate the whole flag. They were fighting with it. They were wrestling over who can grab more of the flag and eat it. If you don't believe me, go to my Telegram page. I have it there. They were eating the flag, okay? They're not brave enough to go to Gaza and fight for the Palestinian that they think is Palestinian. They're not that brave. They're only brave enough to eat a flag, like a real flag, not a paper flag, like a flag, like a real one. Okay? And they were eating it. Yep, that's what they were doing. So for those guys, they'll just fly over their head. You know, they don't get it. Goes in one ear, comes out the other ear. They don't know what's going on, you know. But for people who read and think, it's a problem. So for them, this hadith is fake, you know, it's rejected. We have a problem with one guy in the chain. Okay. And then they start cursing the guy. May God curse the fabricator. May God do this. May God do that. Insulting Islam. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. The hadith was also mentioned by, I'm blowing it up for you guys so you can see. If you put this on TV, if you have a TV that's smart enough where you can put YouTube on it, you will see this big. And then you can take pictures, right? The hadith was also mentioned by Ibn al-Athir in Usad al-Qabaha, right? And he gives you the chapter and page number. When quoting the biography of Sahabi Abu Mandub and Imam al-Dabi in Mizan al-Ittidal, right? And it gives you the page number. Also quoting Muhammad ibn Mazyad, the guy that they have a problem with. And Ibn Kathir also quoted it in al-Bidaya al-Nihaya. And it gives you the page number with the statement that many of the hadith have refuted this hadith. They refuted the hadith. How do they refute it? These people all came. Hundreds of years later, they never met their prophet. They never met his companions. They never even met the grandkids of those companions, or the great-grandkids of those companions, or the great-grandkids of the great-grandkids of the companions. They've all heard something from someone who heard something from someone who heard something from someone. But they refuted it. Isn't that interesting? I mean, you don't have to meet someone to refute what they say. Muslims do that today, don't they? You show them their pictures of people dead in Israel. You show them how they've been killed, mutilated, burnt, heads cut off. You show them everything. Like when the guy, the scene is there. Go look in X. The guy has a giant axe. It's not even an axe. It's that thing that they use in the farm. It's got a long stick, and the front looks like an X, but you smash it into the ground like this, and you pull with it so that it hooks into the ground like an axe, but he pulls everything out. The guy is using that, and he's smashing on the head and the neck of this poor Jewish guy who's dead, trying to cut it off. It's there. Everyone's seen it. And then the Muslim will tell you, where's the proof? Show me now. Show me right now. Now. I want it right now. It's all fabricated. No, you show me right now. Okay. These guys were doing the same thing. I mean, the stories everywhere. Any book you open, the guy's written it. Why are you all writing something that's fake? But no, they don't believe it. Okay, what else happened? Among those who declared it is a fabrication and refuted it, scholars, okay, scholars like Hajar al-Asqalani, Imam Suyuti, Ibn Arab, al-Shawakhani, al-Sheikh al-Albani. They all refuted it. None of them were there at the time when this story supposedly happened. Ibn Kathir, their big guy, also quoted an other hadith on an authority of Mu'ad ibn Jabal. Okay, so this one's not from that Muhammad ibn Mazyad. This one is from another guy named Mu'ad ibn Jabal, right? Where the donkey said his name was Amr bin, and then they don't tell you the last part, and the messenger called him Yafu, okay? Instead of Yafu, now he's Yafu, okay? But this one had also several weaknesses. This one was weak, okay? They changed his name. The story is the same. They changed the pronunciation of his name a little bit, and now it became a little weak. Like an incomplete narrator chain, so the chain for this one is not complete. And many not trustworthy narrators. So there's a lot of people in that chain who these guys don't want to trust. Okay. There are other hadith quoting the name Yafor, okay, but those also have been qualified as da'i. Now remember, I told you guys this before. This game they play with the hadith, these titles they give them da'i, sahih, mutawatir, and so on, right? Hasan. Da'if is like if I gave somebody a test, I gave you a test. I gave you 100 questions on this test. For each question you get right, you get 1 mark. So if you aced it and got it perfect, you got 100. A da'if mark is if you got 50 to 59 right. You passed the test, but you didn't study well. So you got some wrong. But overall, you passed. That is da'if hadith. It is da'if because it's weak. Why is it weak? Because it didn't pass all the questions. But it passed enough to be qualified. That's why this guy says, also have been qualified. But it's da'if. So it's approved. You get 50 to 59 out of 100, you passed, you're approved. There are instead Sahih Hadith, we moved up one mark, quoting a donkey called Ufayr. Okay, now we've changed it from Yafur to Jafar to now Ufayr. I mean, we just changed the name. Tomorrow we can change the name again. We can call him Tim, then we can call him Abdul, then we can call him Potato, then we'll call him Tomato, then we'll call him Cucumber, then we'll call him James again, then we'll change it back to John, then we'll change it back to Ali, then Hassan, then Hussein. Who gives a crap what the guy's name is? The whole story stays the same. They just changed the donkey's name. And because they changed the donkey's name, all of a sudden, oh, now it's Sahih. So Sahih is like, first there was Da'if, then there is Hassan. Then the Hassan is like you get between 60 and 69, and then you get Sahih. Sahih is like you get between 70 and 89, and then you get Mutawatir, which is like between 90 and 100. So now because we changed the guy's name to Ufayr, all of a sudden you got the mark between 70 and 79. It became very good. The story is the same. I mean, the story doesn't change. All that changed was the name. I bet you if we make the guy's name Potato, he'll get a Mutawatir now. If the donkey was Potato, it will be 100%. That's how it works. It's a game they play. And what they love to do is they like to find people that don't know Islam, so they won't know how to refute it. And they'll tell you whatever, and they'll tell you it's a good religion. But if you know a little bit, they'll never talk to you. They run away because they know you're going to butcher them, especially if you're the type that holds them. If you're the type of person that will hold them to what they said, oh man, they don't like you. But if you're the type that if they say a lie, you will sit back, you will let it go, and then you will stop. They love you then. You know who those people are? Those are the ones that debate. They love the debate. You know why they love the debate? Prior to the debate, they have to sit with you and they communicate to you by email and say, let's pick a topic. And then you pick a topic. And then they will say, well, we are going to talk about that topic. So we need 6 months to research about the topic. The Muslim needs time. Then they go and they find whatever they want. Then when you come to the debate, the MC will say, which is the moderator, 20 minutes for him, 20 minutes for him. Then we'll have another 20 minutes for him, then 20 minutes for him. Then we'll have another 20 minutes for him, and another 20 minutes for him. And then we'll have 5 minutes of answer questions for him from the audience. And we'll have a 5-minute answer question for him from the audience. And then the Muslim will start. Abdul is going to start. And he will go on and on and on and on for 20 minutes. And then the other guy, the one who's going to debate him, will start his speech. and 10 minutes goes into him introducing the topic that he's talking about. And then he'll spend 10 minutes asking questions that he's hoping that the Abdul is going to have to answer to. But Abdul is not going to. Is going to come up and turn into, and he's going to continuously keep talking and talking and talking and talking and talking and talking, as if that guy never said a word. And then that guy will come back and he will say, well, I asked you last time, and he will repeat his questions like a parrot. And then Abdul will turn around again in his next 20 minutes and pretend like he didn't hear anything. And he will keep talking and talking and talking and talking and talking, avoiding every single question. Then when the 5 minutes comes, well, people are going to ask from the audience, and they won't be able to rebuttal him because they'll ask their question and they'll go back because there's a lineup. So then instead of answering their question, Abdul the potato will start again, and now he will transform himself to tomato, and he will then go on and on and on and on and on. And eventually someone will have to tell him, well, time is running, man. We got people waiting. And then he'll shut up so that somebody else can ask a question. And they'll never ask from the other guy. They'll always ask from the Abdul. And Abdul will continuously avoid your questions. And if he sees that you really don't know what you're saying, he might bully you and belittle you and tell you he's expecting tougher questions. And then he'll tell you you don't know what you're saying. He'll even ask you, like, where is it? Where is it? Bring it to me. Bring it to me. Tell me where you found it. Where is that? What part of the Quran? And you don't know. So you'd be like, I don't know. And then he will tell you, you see, it doesn't exist. Ah, you couldn't find it? Oh. And he'll do stuff like that. He'll bully you. Oh, they love that. All of them love that. But if you are in a debate where you can say, if you say something, the other guy has the opportunity to interrupt you and hold you to it and discuss what you said. No, they don't like that because they know they're going to be facing someone who knows the religion and there is nowhere for them to run. They can't use the avoiding tactic anymore. So they don't like that. They love to go on a show where the host knows nothing of Islam, so they can continuously bash Christianity with talking points because they've never read the Bible, so they don't know how everything works. They'll bash it, and then they'll tell you how peaceful they are. And when the person will say, well, I heard this, they will say, where did you hear it? Where? And that the host doesn't know. He goes, I don't know. Muslim told me. And then they'll tell you, oh, so you're telling me something you heard from somebody else who doesn't exist? Because I've never met him. They love that kind of thing. That's what they're doing here. They're changing the word. Somebody didn't know, they ask a question, and now they're going to fool the guy. Jafar is not the name. That one is no good. That's a lie. We have one named Ufair, but they won't tell him the story, though it's the same story. So the guy will think, oh, well, okay, well, that, okay. These guys are simpletons. When you change the name, they fall for it, you know? So back to the story here. Another source, which quotes a donkey speaking to the messenger, is one of our 4 Shia books, Al-Kafi. The statement is from Ali ibn Abi Talib. Remember Shiatul Ali? So this story goes all the way back to Ali, this so-called cousin and stepson and son-in-law of Muhammad, the one who married Fatima, the girl that Muhammad was doing, boom, boom. And then this clergyman who's answering realizes that he just effed up. I mean, this is big. He just said that Ali said it and nobody can now dispute it. So he has to do some whitewashing of this, like if you wrote with a pencil and you're going to take a eraser and erase your mistake, that's what he's going to do next by saying, but I couldn't find any narration quoting anything about Lady Fatima al-Zahra. Meaning, Fatima al-Zahra never reported the story. As if Fatima al-Zahra in Shia religion can do anything. I mean, Ali is the Imam, chosen by supposedly Allah to teach what Muhammad was teaching, fulfill the legacy, and all of this stuff. Who is Fatima? Just his wife, supposedly. Because in Islam, there is no marriage contract. There is a nikah contract. Nikah literally means F-U-C-K-I-N-G, contract. The word for marriage is the wash. You don't have an is the wash contract. You have a nikah contract. Words have meanings. You can't just take any word and put it in for anything else. If I tell you I want a glass of water, I can't tell you, bring me some tea, and then you change tea into water. You'll bring me tea if I tell you I want tea. If I tell you I want hot chocolate, you won't bring me tea. You'll bring me hot chocolate. Words have meanings. When you say nikah, nikah means nikah. It doesn't mean izdawaj. When you say izdawaj, it means izdawaj. It doesn't mean nikah. But we have to teach these things because the Muslims won't. They'll change words. They'll say nikah and then they'll translate it as marriage. So Fatima was a nikah contract that Ali signed with Muhammad. In other words, she was sold off like you go and you pick up a dog and you buy a dog and you pay some money as part of your contract. When you go to the pound, to the shelter, and you buy a dog and you pay some money and you sign a contract that this dog belongs to you. That's what they did. Muhammad said, give me this much. Ali says, sure, why not? And they sign it. And Fatima went like this. She didn't even say a word. Nodded the head. I agree to be part of his nikah contract, F-U-C-K-I-N-G contract. I'm just something that he uses for a place to put his you-know-what into, because that's it. That's all she's good for. What kind of hadith she's going to bring that's going to refute him? These guys put their feet in their mouth. And then he knows what he said is so weak, so he has to finish it with, and Allah knows best. Whenever you corner a Muslim in the wall and he has nowhere to go, and there's literally no way to go, any way you go, you're going to get caught. Like a cat puts a mouse in the corner and keeps pawing at it, and the mouse knows it's dead. Like there is nothing. I can't run. There's nothing. I'm going to get killed. Because anywhere I go, he's going to hit me. When you put a Muslim in a corner like that, their resort to hide is Allah knows best. Allah knows best. In other words, don't think about this hadith too much. Don't let it make you leave Islam. If it is or if it isn't, Allah knows. Leave it with Allah. In Islam, everything comes back to this. Allah knows best. Don't worry. Everything that sounds suspicious, just leave it with Allah. Then we get to this guy. Joy Noble's Encyclopedia of Canonical Hadith, right? Canonical Hadith. All right, I'm saying it wrong. I'm getting tired. Been up for too long. Discusses a very weak hadith, rejected by all relevant commentators. Commentators. You know who commentators are? Commentators are clergymen of our time. What these guys do, the muftis, the ayatollah al-uzama, the ayatollahs, the big shots, what they do, they sit together, they eat a whole entire turkey, and then they use the grease of that turkey to finger each other. If you think I'm lying, I can prove it to you. And then while they're doing that, they discuss, oh, what do you think of this hadith? And when they're pushing each other, the guy raises his voice and goes, nah, because you got him off surprise. And then they say, oh, you don't like that hadith. Okay, we'll put it in the list of the not liked hadith. That's how they do it. Trust me on that. And in here, he's going to prove the same thing. Relevant commentators. And even cursed by Ibn al-Jawzi. Remember the same al-Jawzi who was writing and who was telling you this hadith is weak. He's not a companion of the Prophet. He's not a child of the companion of the Prophet. He never lived in that era. These guys came long after. Some of them 500 years later. Some of them 700 years later. Some of them 1,000 years later. And in our time, 1,400 years later. But they sit at the back and they get to choose what is right and what is wrong in secret gatherings of only their own. Why you need secret gatherings? What are you doing there? There are a number of variants. So there's multiple hadiths involving a donkey called perhaps Ufayr. Perhaps. Now we turn perhaps. Or Yafur. Maybe it was back to Yafur again. Okay. Who spoke to the Prophet? In one variant, there's a simple conversation. In one of them, Yafur, the donkey, told Qatam, human feces, sit down. We're going to have a simple talk. But in the next one, he's going to explain to him rocket science, okay? I mean, he has to. The Prophet flew on another type of donkey with wings to heaven. He needs to know about rocket science. But in this one, it's the simple one, right? So in the simple discussion that they were having, the donkey told the Prophet about his name. You don't believe me? Says it right here. Simple conversation between the animal and Muhammad concerning the animal's name. In another variant, another hadith, the donkey explained to the Prophet about his habits of throwing his previous owner, resulting in frequent punishment. The animal had behaved this way in order to be sold to Muhammad. Okay, so before he was a booty war when they took over Khaybar, a Jewish castle. What a castle is doing in the middle of a desert, surrounded by water. I mean, I don't know what deserts you guys are talking about, but back then, deserts had water. And if you dug it, water would just come up like an ocean. And your land was in the middle of it. Okay? This is your land, surrounded by water. Imagine a donut and you're in the middle, and there's a donut of water around you. That was Khaybar. They had a big gate that came over the water like this, and the whole works. But in this story, in this hadith, the only thing that changed is that instead of Muhammad winning him in the battle, Muhammad bought him. And because he bought him, it changed the whole thing. The rest of the story is the same. This donkey talks, tells his name. Muhammad asks him if he likes women, and he says no. And back 1,400 years ago, there were no transgenderisms. I mean, it was either male or female. And he doesn't like the female, so he likes the male. The donkey was gay. I'm telling you, this was a LGBTOAI plus whatever prophet. You guys don't want to believe it. His donkey was gay. That was the first question that he answered after he told the donkey what his name was. But all of that is okay now because the donkey was sold. He wasn't won in a battle. I'm blowing up the next page for you. You'll get it in a second. It says, when the prophet died, the donkey also threw himself in the same well, blah, blah, blah. So they're telling you it's the same story. After that finishes, here you're looking at the first picture of a book. This is the cover of the book, you can say. And the next picture you're going to see, that's going to pop up in a second for you, I'm blowing it up, is the page of that book. And where it's in the red, that is the story. Ladies and gentlemen and ladies, children of all ages, welcome to the story of, what, you thought I'm still going to tell you Yafur? Come on, I got to give you a break sometime. The story of the wolf, the cow, and the ox. Now here they said cow. Cow is the word, as you know, used for a female type of cow because the male is a bull. Okay. So we got a female cow, we got the wolf, we got the ox. I keep bringing all these prophets for, in Islam, we got 124,000 prophets. What, you thought all of them are the ones that they talked about in the Quran that happen to be Jews? Every Jew is a prophet. Yes, I understand that part of Islam. Solomon was a king, but they changed his name to Suleiman and he turned into a prophet. David was a king, but they changed his name to Dawood and he turned into a prophet. Right? Everybody else who was a prophet in Judaism also is a prophet in Islam. They copied every single person. They have this fascination with the Jew. They want to be Jews. What can I do? But in Islam, there are other prophets. Today, I'm going to teach you guys about Prophet Wolf, Prophet Cow, which was a female, and Prophet Ox as well. What, you thought it was only the donkey? Birds have prophets. Everything has a prophet. Come on now. You guys should know this by now. You're learning from Dr. Mossavat's university. We bring the truth to you. We don't let them hide it from you. These Muslims hide this even from their own people. But in this YouTube channel, which is better than most universities, we teach you the truth. Narrated by Abu Huraira, the Prophet said, while a man was riding a cow, that's a female cow, by the way, it turned towards him and said, I have not been created for this purpose, i.e., the guy who's writing is putting in a bracket, i.e., carrying you. Okay? I have been created for plunging. When he says plunging, the first thing I think of is like a plunger that you use in the toilet. Okay. Anyway, the Prophet added, I, Abu Bakr, meaning I himself, Abu Bakr, the father of his 6-year-old bride Aisha, for a nikah contract, pedophile prophet, what you want. And Omar, the other father of one of his other nikah contracts, believe this story. The Prophet went on. The Prophet's going to teach you about another one. This was Prophet Cow, who had a miracle. The miracle of the Prophet Cow was it could speak Arabic fluently. Because in Islam, every prophet has a miracle, except for Muhammad. He was miraculous, according to Quran. Now he's going to teach you about Prophet Wolf. A wolf caught a sheep. Okay. And when the shepherd chased it, he turned into Usain Bolt and he chased behind us. The wolf said, who will be the guard on the day of the wild beast, when there will be no shepherd for it except me. I mean, the wolf wanted to be a shepherd. Come on. What, you thought only human beings want to be shepherds? No, the wolf also dreams of a day when he can be a shepherd of a flock of sheep, and the sheep can go and eat the stones in the desert, and the wolf will just sit there with all its fur, go and watch the sheep. I mean, what else is the wolf going to do? Come on now. Haven't you seen dogs do that when they get hot? The wolf is a kind of a dog. It'll do the exact same thing. They're the same species. I mean, they came from each other. They just separated into different branches. You know what I mean. You know the thing, as Joe Biden would say. Oh, after narrating it, the Prophet said, I, Abu Bakr and Omar, too believe it. Abu Salama, Salama was one of his other nikah contracts. Abu Salama, a sub-narrator, the guy who's writing the story, said, Abu Bakr and Omar were not present then. Meaning, he just spit in his hand and took that hand and hit Muhammad in the back of the head, the guy who's writing it. Because in other words, Muhammad's a liar, because those two were not there to agree if they believe the story with him, but he's adding their name in. That's the only reason you put this in there, that those guys weren't there, or else why would you put it in? So they're calling their prophet a liar. Okay, let's continue. He says, it has been written that a wolf also spoke to one of the companions of the Prophet of Islam near Medina. You might be wondering why earlier on I said that the wolf dreams of having a flock of sheep in the desert eating stones. Look at where this is. The wolf is speaking to a companion of the Prophet near Medina. Medina is a city in a desert. There is no grass, herbs, flowers, anything growing in a desert that a sheep could possibly eat. There's no trees, there's nothing. It's sand and stones. So you have two options. Either the sheep is going to eat sand or it's going to eat stones. I mean, you pick. And another thing, while we're at it, what is a wolf doing in the middle of a desert? I mean, wolf lives in a cold climate areas. Doesn't live in warm climate areas, let alone hot climate areas. Muslims and their story. As narrated in Fath al-Bari, narrated Yunus ibn, and the story goes on, names after name. We don't want to read the name. We'll be here all day reading names if we read names. I was among the sheep. Oh, okay. Suddenly a wolf caught a sheep, and I shouted at it. Okay. The guy was with his sheep in the desert, and a wolf showed up in the desert, and the wolf got a sheep. He grabbed the sheep with his mouth. Well, what else? You thought he's going to grab it with his hands? He grabbed it with his mouth. And now he's trying to drag the sheep away. And this guy yelled at the wolf. He went, oh, what are you doing? Let's see what the wolf does. The wolf sat on its tail. I mean, that makes sense. Of what you expect it to sit on its butt? I mean, he's going to sit on his tail. He's going to put the tail underneath and use it as a cushion and then put his butt on the tail. Doesn't want to get his butt dirty with the sand. Makes sense, doesn't it? And the wolf is addressing this guy. Wolf addressed me and saying, who will look after it, i.e. the sheep, when you will be busy and not able to look after it? Do you forbid me the provisions which Allah has provided me? I mean, really, think about it. the Allah of the Muslims told this wolf, hey, you, Prophet Wolf, yeah, you, go to Medina, outside of the city limits, in the desert. I have for you a shepherd. He has a bunch of sheep. They're rock-eating sheep. And you, Prophet Wolf, are allowed to go and take one. But then there is a guy. He's the shepherd. He will tell you, oh, what you're doing. And then you will speak to him. You will show him my miracles that I gave you. And you will tell him that you're allowed to take the sheep. Isn't it good? This is a good story, isn't it? Ahban added, I clapped my hands and said, by Allah, I have never heard or seen anything more curious and wonderful than this. On that, the wolf said, the wolf's still talking, by the way. He ate a bird's head and he keeps going, in Arabic, mind you, you know. He says, the wolf said, there is something more curious and wonderful than that. Allah's apostle in his palm tree, in those palm trees, inviting people to Allah. And then they made a mistake because they put Allah. And he had to correct it by saying, Ay Islam. Hunas ibn Amr further said, then Ahban went to Allah's Prophet, the human filth, and said and informed him of what happened. And he embraced Islam. He saw the miracle of Prophet Wolf and he became a Muslim. The next book is called Sahih al-Bukhari, page 860, hadith number 3471. This is the book, ladies and gentlemen. This is the book. Or we can say it like the Russians, because the Russians now have KGB agents and in charge of everything in the Middle East. This is a book. This is a page. In other words, the page. And in the red is where you will see the story. While you're looking at it, and while it's blowing up for you and getting bigger so you can see it properly, I will drink some hot chocolate. Abu Bakr, al-Bukhari, I should say, sorry. This hadith is also from Abu Huraira. Once Allah's apostle offered his morning prayer and then faced the people because he knew they're going to run. He said, while a man was riding a cow, the female cow, he suddenly rode over it and beat it. I mean, why would you beat the cow you're riding? I don't understand. But anyway, this guy was beating the cow. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, he started beating the cow. The female cow, which was a prophet, by the way, opened its mouth and started talking in Arabic. We have not been created for this. Who's we? Is he riding multiple cows or one cow? We have not been created for this, but we have been created for plunging. On that, the people said, astonished, getting tongue twisted now, astonishingly, glorified be Allah. A cow speaks. The Prophet said, I believe this. And Abu Bakr and Omar too believed this, although neither of them were present there. While a person from amongst his sheep, a wolf attacked and took one of the sheep. The man chased the wolf till he saved it from the wolf. Okay, so this guy was so fast in running, he ran faster than the wolf, opened the mouth of the wolf, pulled the sheep behind him, and faced the wolf. Okay, The wolf said, "You have saved it from me, but who will guard it on the day of the wild beasts, when there will be no shepherd to guard it? Guard them, I should say, except me, because of riots and afflictions." Mr. Wolf doesn't just show you the miracle that he can speak. Mr. Wolf is also telling you what's about to happen later on. And he can pinpoint it to precisely people rioting. He was talking about these people that are going to riot about Palestine and how afflictions are going to be given to people. The people said, surprisingly, "Glorified is Allah. A wolf speaks." The Prophet said, "I believe this, and Abu Bakr and Umar too." And then they will tell you, "But neither of them were present." See footnote page 10, volume 5. You will see it in a second. It'll pop up for you. Underneath that, we have Sahih al-Bukhari, page 900, hadith 3663. Okay? And I'm going to blow that up for you. In the red, you will find the hadith. Okay? The hadith. And then I'm going to make it smaller so I can move it up, so I can blow the English version of it for you so we can read it together. I am tired, so I'm going to drink some more. I have been up for well over 24 hours now. Narrated by Abu Huraira, I heard Allah's apostle saying, while a shepherd was amongst his sheep, a wolf attacked them and took away one sheep. When the shepherd chased the wolf turned towards him and said, "Who will be its guard on the day of the wild animals, when nobody except I will be its shepherd?" And while a man was riding a cow with a load on it, so this guy has stuff that the cow is carrying plus him, it turned towards him and spoke to him. The cow turned and spoke to him. "I have not been created for this purpose, but for the belonging." The Prophet said, "Glorified be Allah." Ooh. And then he said, the Prophet, "But I believe in it, and so does Abu Bakr and Umar." I don't know why he has to keep pulling those guys. I mean, he's stuck. You know, it's like a broken record. You know, you have a record in the old days they used to play, and then it would get stuck on one part, and he would keep telling you the same thing. And the guy would say, "My dog left me. My dog left me," meaning his wife. And then it would just be stuck there. And now, same thing here. Muhammad's stuck. You know, everything has to be in threes, like a trinity. And he's stuck with the same names. Abu Bakr and Umar and himself. You know, he just stuck. He can't go anywhere. He's stuck. You know, in threes. Everything in threes. You have to do, when you're doing the minor ablution, you have to rinse your arm 3 times. You know, you have to rinse your foot 3 times. You got to gargle the water 3 times. When he knocks on a door, Assalamu alaikum, he has to do it 3 times. Now they're going to say Dr. Mossavat doesn't know how to say Salamun alaikum. He's going to, you know what, if he does something, he has to do it 3 times. When he finishes eating the food, either him or someone else has to lick the finger 3 times. That's his actual hadith. He tells you, when you finish eating the food, you or someone else must lick your finger 3 times. That's how you clean it. If you don't believe me, tell me, prove it, and I'll give you the source. Everything is in threes. I mean, the guy is obsessed with the 3. And then they tell you, where is the Trinity? Oh, prove me the Trinity. Your prophet does everything in 3. Okay. Oh boy. Here we go. This is the page from the book. What you're looking at in the red, which you're going to see blown up for you in a sec, That is the hadith. I believe we've passed the 1 hour mark a while ago. As usual, I forgot to look at the timing when we started. So I'm going to stop it about here because I know I didn't talk past this for the Iranian side, and I'd like to say whatever I say for them, for you guys, and go forward. Now, of course, I have to add certain things for the English language because I have to remember that most of you may not even be Muslims, and hence some terminologies you may not know, and some histories behind the words and their meanings you may not know, like what is Sunni, what is Shia, blah, 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 and I have to explain all those things to you, where for them, I don't have to explain that because most of them already are coming from this faith or already in this faith, and they understand those things. So I can say those names and go, but for you, I have to give you a more detailed explanation so you guys can catch on to what we're talking about, what is being said, and then have a better insight of understanding what we're covering. So until next week, I'm going to leave you in the hands of Jesus. If you like the program, don't forget, like the program, subscribe to the program, click on the all button and the bell so that you can get all of the programs that we're sending out as soon as it comes out and that you don't miss a program. Underneath this YouTube page, under the video portion of it, look, there will be a link for Buy Me a Coffee. Beside that, it says, and one more. You click on it, that and one more will pop out. In there, you will see my link tree. In Linktree, if you click on it, all my social media apps where I'm in pop up. And then you can click on each one of those and subscribe. We have things that I put out in Telegram that I cannot show in YouTube because simply it would ban our channel completely. So come and join us there. Subscribe to the Facebook and the Instagram and all those other places. There will be a day when YouTube will close this channel. When it does, you can find the new channel that I make because I will let you know on those social media apps. If you're not following me there, it will take you a long time to try to find me. Hence, it is important that you subscribe to everywhere I'm on. So that way I can inform you if something happens to one of those social media apps or to the YouTube page. So please, if you like the program, don't forget, subscribe. And tell those that you share it to also subscribe. The more you subscribe, the more the bots that are in YouTube will promote this to other people, and more lives we can save from this ridiculous terrorist regime religion called Islam. You saw the guy. He was wishing to be a Hezbollah member. This is a religion that promotes terrorism. Let's stop them before they come and cut every single one of our heads off. You've seen how they've been acting this last week in England. You see how they go and they drive in streets yelling, we want to rape Jewish women. You've seen how they attack people in China with knife and try to kill the guy at the embassy. You saw how they attacked the other guy in England trying to steal his Israeli flag and tried to beat him up, and the cops got in. You saw the other police officer who they told him that if we see a Jew walking his dog in the streets in England, we're going to kill his dog. You saw the people that came out of the universities in United States yelling, we are Hamas. And you saw the president of Harvard talk about how we need a profound understanding. She doesn't understand it yet. She needs a profound understanding of what the Palestinians are talking about when they say from the river to the sea, it has to be Palestine. meaning all the Jewish people have to be. She needs a profound understanding for that. Don't fall for them. This is where we give you the true knowledge. So make sure that by subscribing, you're helping us to make the bots in YouTube promote this to more people so we can save them from this. So they don't have to fall for President of Harvard, profound understanding. Until next week, I leave you in the hands of Jesus.